Hi, I am still in Florida. It's a little bit cloudy, but I still like being outside with the fountain. Not great. Well, anyway, look. The fountain and the palm trees. This is mirror image, so I can't really, I'm feeling very awkward about getting the right thing because like I move one way and I think it's going to go the other. Anyway, point being, I am learning so much at this conference. It's so amazing. Again, Masters of Influence from Alchemist Nation. Doug McGurk has been teaching us a lot about influencing people and the things that motivate and drive people. And one of the things he was talking about today was the main drivers, the main survival drivers, and then like the two spiritual or fulfillment drivers. So the first four are for survival. One is certainty, the next is uncertainty, then there's significance, and then there's love and or connection, right? So it sounds a little contradictory because every behavior and every action has a little bit of all of them. It just depends on the order of importance to the person and what your drivers are, the more important ones, actually determine the outcome of your life. So certainty is, I need to be sure. Like someone who, let's say, does accounting might be so comfortable because they know they're going to be able to figure it out by the numbers, or they have someone with a W-2 job feels very secure because they know they have this job with a salary they can expect every single week, stuff like that. So someone who has a high certainty, like drive, would need to feel kind of, and there's no judgments, but like who wants to, not controlling, but wants to be in control, like feels like they don't want uncertainty. Whereas uncertainty, people who are driven by uncertainty, so this is variety. That would be another word, and that's been my main motivator, or one of my main motivators. The first two is really the most important. Anyway, not the most important, but the ones that determine most of your actions. So for me, uncertainty is really important because I like different things. I like to meet different people. I like to eat different foods. I like to see different places. I like to learn different things. That's kind of where I'm at with that. Then you have significance, and that's like meaning, needing to mean something. And then there's love and connection, which is pretty obvious. And as I said, we have these drives, and all our actions comprise all four. All four actions comprise, all four drivers comprise. I'm gonna have to go back and review my knowledge. So anyway, yeah, it was really impactful to me because the point is to understand yourself and be able to influence yourself first, and then be able to influence others, but in a good way, and not in the sense of like, manipulation. Basically, it's about meeting people where they're at. And if what you have to offer them, be it advice or whatever it is you want, you're trying to convince them to go to the restaurants that you want to go to. Next, whatever it is that you're trying to enlist the person in, you meet them where they're at, and then you sort of bring them along according to what their main drivers are. And again, like it's not so, like you can't convince, let's say, you can't convince a dog to talk, right? You know what I mean? Like some people are just, it's not like that. It's not like manipulation or anything like that. It's about guiding people what's the word? To help them, really, is what we're talking about here. Guiding people to help them. But the first thing I have to do is guide myself to help myself, right? So I've been really thinking about my main motivators, and it's really putting my life into a different perspective than I've had. And it's something I'll talk about more later because we don't have a lot of time right now, and I just wanted to come out and mention that. But you might want to discuss with yourself what your main motivators are, and it's a different way to understand yourself. Because like in that light, looking back on choices that I've made and things that I've done, and when things were lack of it. So the drives are another word for needs, right? When your needs are not met, you will meet them somehow. This is, of course, also kind of in conflict with the Michael Singer stuff that I've been reading about or listening to about not wanting, like, your preferences and extinguishing your preferences. It's not in conflict. It's just I gotta think more about how they work together. And I will talk more about that later as well. I'm going to write all this down that I'm saying that I'm going to talk about, so I do talk about it. But that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope that helps out there. I am really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful for this conference. I'm really grateful for the people who came together to get me here, because honestly, I didn't know how I was going to come here. I didn't know how I was going to financially come up with what I needed to come up with. But I decided, I just put it out into the universe. I was like, that is what's happening. I'm going to this conference. And things transpired to make it happen. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to the people who made it happen. Cheryl Miller and Guadra Morello and everyone else who's been so generous and kind to me from Alchemist Nation. They really have just changed my life. And I mean, if you were to look, not that it's that interesting to you, but if you were to look back at the videos that I've made over the past several months, you'd see there's like a physical change, and I'm continuing to grow. I'm continuing to change and learn more and apply it. And it's a slow process. The point also is it's a slow process. So getting better from, let's say, an emotional, I'm personally, as you may or may not know, recovered from depression, which I don't like to go back to because you don't want to stay in that state, but I use it to let you guys know that that's where I was. So if that's where you are too, you can make yourself better, but it takes time, it takes knowledge, it takes application, it takes action, but you can do it. And that's what that's what these videos are about, right? I'm putting this out there to show you guys that you too can do this stuff. You can influence yourself. And if I can help influence you to a better life and a higher quality of life and loving yourself and realizing that life isn't shit and that you can actually make something of yourself and live a happy, fulfilled life no matter where you are mentally and emotionally or how old you are, which I know for me was a big block. I'm grateful for that, and I want to share that with you. So I'm just letting you guys know that you can come from a dark place and get to gratitude. And even when you're in it, I know I'm not in a dark place right now, which I'm very grateful for, but I have been. And what got me here is gratitude. Being grateful for what I have and being grateful for what I will receive. That took a while though, so don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't just happen overnight, because that's what I used to think, that I'll just be better, or I can't believe that I can't do this, and I would make it worse for myself in my head, like, oh, you're so terrible, you can't do this, it was bad, and I'm distracted, so I'm not really explaining it that well, but I just want you guys to know that there's hope, and I just want to remind you that you can always choose to have a grateful day.